Broadcasting live from the heart of the continental United States and sailing the steel breeze of the World Wide Web, Baruch Hashem. Tonight, it's Thursday, and this is the Nexus. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by our Thursday night hangout here directly from Rumble Studio. I'm James, and at the Idol Smasher and buymeacoffee.com/the Idol Smasher if you'd like to see this little thing grow and continue. And maybe we can do it more than my Radio Shack, which is where we're broadcasting from, right here from the Sunflower State in Kansas. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for watching on YouTube as well, and X. And oh my goodness, I didn't put a link out to the Orphans of Abraham. Normally I have that up there. I promise next week. Like maybe I can do that now. Is it too late? Too late to do it now? Let me see. Are we going to do this? Yeah, I'm not going to sure we're going to do this right now because I'm trying to get set up for something else. And that is tonight, there's a big address from President Trump from the White House. It's rare. And I figured everybody's going to be watching that, so maybe we'll watch it as well. We'll see how that goes. And tonight we start, or today, this week, this Shabbat, the reading of Deuteronomy begins. And that's the portion, Deuteronomy. Actually, it's Devarim. Devarim. Devarim is also the name of the Parsha in the book as well. So this is pretty much a repetition. If you want to start on Judaism, if you're ever interested in where do I start, where do I begin? Wow, I've got to read through 22 volumes of the Talmud all the way. I can't even read Hebrew. Where do you start in Judaism? Where do you start in understanding the basic civil, or I should say civic ideas? Let's see if we can get Donald Trump here on the TV. He's starting now. Hang on a second here. We're going to get him on. If we can hear that. I'm not sure the audio is getting out. Okay, well, we'll as much as I'd like to hear my president discuss how great we are, I don't think I'm going to be able to get the audio on here. And I think that's going to be the issue. I'm not seeing an indication here in Rumble Studio that it went through. But, we'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, we have something just as cool and just as relevant, although not as much click-worthy as Donald Trump, President Trump can be. But we start here in Deuteronomy. That's where you start. That's when you get the basis of history, the basis of the journey. You get the only laws you're going to get in Deuteronomy are civic laws. Okay, so if you're even an outsider walking into this society, this is what you can expect to live by, or what you can expect the inhabitants to live by. Okay, and why? So it's all there. It's considered repetition. It's the first Mishnah. The first repetition, you say repetition, that might not be a good word. And retelling might not be a good word. Maybe a summation. What this is Moses's last speech to the Israelites before they cross the Jordan and he dies. So this is his final message to everybody. He's giving you all the important stuff first. The priestly duties, the affairs of the Mishkan, and how that's all done. That's not in here. What is in here are the civic laws that are kept by the Israelites. And so we'll be getting into that as well. I want to pour because it's been a heck of a day, a heck of a week. One thing is proven to me today that there is gloriousness in good employees. There is true gloriousness. So, tonight, High Life Light. Nice kosher brew. Doesn't behave like a light beer, and it's the only one I found in America or imported or otherwise that doesn't behave like a light beer. This is the head. It has lacing, lots of bubbles, good color. Here, an artificial lighting. Let's get a lighter behind it. See the color of that? See that? It's not a light beer, but they say it's light and it's got less calories. So the wife will appreciate that as well. Also, I've got a page marked in Dennis Prager's commentary on the book of Deuteronomy. We'll hope to get into that, but let's just get things started and open it up right now. I was in a hangout recently over at Bro Joe's, and they were going through great efforts to make me second guess my faith. I thought they would have known better than to come to me. You can try that with a lot of people, but it's hard to try it with someone like me. I didn't just get into the whole Noahide thing as a fad. Now, I was first introduced to Judaism through Kabbalah. Believe it or not, yeah, Kabbalah. And you can't shake that. You can't shake that at all. I was very sad. I mean, one of the fellas who I thought had more intelligence than this said that there was no true monotheism in Israel until 3 BC. And I said, what about the temple? What about it? I mean, what do you mean, what about it? But he really believed it. I mean, I caught him and I held him on it, and he didn't go anywhere. It's typical. It's typical of missionaries when they want to try and throw holes at your religion, and when you make a case that they're wrong, they just move on to the next argument. They don't stop and look at what they've done. Just like the Christians, these guys were atheists, but might as well be at this point the way they were arguing. And it was why can't you accept that you could be wrong, that this could all be I mean, there was a guy in there who didn't even know what the Sinai event was. It was hard to explain to him the giving of the 10 Commandments, that there 2.53 million people heard God speak. And how do you hand them a book that says that they heard God speak without them, and have them take it hook, line, and sinker? It's easy, James. It's easy. That was their answer. Just like every other religion was given to them. I'm like, there was no other revelation like this. Was that Shiva, whoever it was over there in India, spoke to 6 million people and they all died. I think it was 6 million. And they all died. Not so at Sinai. So how could you, and it's easy, James. They just do it. See, we're wrong, or we're right. You're wrong. Or you could be wrong. The arguments used against Judaism. Now, I haven't been in the debating world about this. It's been a long time, but it's like just throw what you want at it, but nothing of it's going to stick. It never does stick. I chime in where I can on certain arguments, or certain claims made that the Bible says that the people who came out were a mixed multitude. It's like, no, there's a distinction. They said, well, Israel was also called the mixed multitude. No, it wasn't. You had to make these certain distinctions, but the Exodus never happened. Oh, okay. No archaeological evidence whatsoever. I said, hang on, I got some. See, you don't have anything. I looked at a couple of Stellas that have the Hyksos coming in and the Hyksos expulsion as well. Oh, see, you don't have anything. Yeah, it's in this Stella and this Stella right here. They're both from Egypt. Okay, so let's move along. What about this? They don't listen. They don't want to hear. They've already made up their minds. They're on a presupposition that Torah is false. There was no Exodus. And the Israelites were Canaanites. It's like the Canaanites and the Israelites couldn't live in the same place. Canaanites were the only ones who inhabited Canaan at the time. Well, they had to have been Canaanites. All the pottery suggests, pottery schmottery. There's plenty of evidence, archaeological evidence. There is a first temple of a monotheistic God, but we're not going to count that. Moving right along, okay. It was kind of sad. I really thought, because I'd known these guys for many years. They used to come into the Nexus when the Nexus was an actual hangout and people came. I'd never heard such bullshitty arguments in my life. I thought I was in the Twilight Zone. I really was like, what's going on here? Is this AI? You know, these guys are really good for AI. They had me going. So we'll just start a good reading tonight. I think that's where we're going to go. Because I've told many people, and it's been said many times in Judaism, that, you know, this is where you start teaching children. And if you really want to know about a religion, pick up the children's book. See what they teach their kids. Well, this is where they start Jewish kids on Torah. So let's have a look. We're at Chabad.org. I've got a link down here if you're on YouTube and Rumble Studio. We got a link down below in the description. And check here and see if anybody wants to get in. Nah, of course, nobody wants to get in. Nobody's watching. And for those who do, which are a small number live, I have great numbers afterwards, but thank you for tuning in. Glad to have you here. Here we go. Devarim, Deuteronomy chapter 1. The following are the words that Moses spoke to all Israel on the east side of the Jordan River regarding the sins they committed in the desert, in the plain, opposite the Sea of Reeds, in the Paran Desert, for having maligned the white manna, regarding the sins they committed at Chatzerot, and with their abundance of gold. It is an 11-day journey from Mount Horeb via the road to Mount Seir to Kadesh Barnea. It was on the first day of the 11th month of the 14th year that Moses spoke to the Israelites concerning all that God had commanding him regarding them, after he had smitten King Sihon of the Amorites, who dwelt in Cheshbon, and King Og of Bashan, who dwelt in Ashtaroth, Karnaim, and in Edrei. On the east side of the Jordan River in Moab, Moses began to explain this. And if I butcher these names, please correct me down below, please. On the east side of the Jordan River in Moab, Moses began to explain this teaching, saying, God, our God, spoke to us at Mount Horeb, saying, you have dwelt too long at this mountain. Mount Horeb, by the way, is Sinai, where they got the Ten Commandments, okay? God, our God, spoke to us at Mount Horeb, saying, you have dwelt too long at this mountain. Turn and journey. Come to the mountain of the Amorites, and to all its neighboring places and in the plain. Places in the plain, the mountain, the lowland, the south, and the seashore, the land of the Canaanites and Lebanon, until the great river, the Euphrates River. See, I have set the land before you. Come and take possession of the land that God swore to your forefathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give them and their descendants after them. L'chaim. I addressed you at the time, saying, I cannot bear you alone. God, your God, has made you great. Behold, you are today as numerous as the stars in heaven. May God, God of your forefathers, add to you 1,000 times as many as you are. May he bless you as he spoke concerning you. Verse 12. How can I bear your trouble, your burden, and your strife? All by myself. I seem to be peeking on my mic. I'm getting indications over here. You are very distracting when I'm reading. You know that. I'll turn you and see if that helps. Ready yourselves for the appointment of men who are wise, understanding, and known among your tribes. I will appoint them as your heads. You answered me and said, hello, Katie. Thank you very much. You answered me and said, the plan you have spoken is good for us to do. I convinced wise and noble men to be the heads. Catherine, can you please let Daddy do Torah, okay? I love you. We're live. Autism's a lot of fun. I convinced wise and notable men to be the heads of your tribes. I made them dignitaries over you, leaders over thousands, leaders over hundreds, leaders over fifties, and leaders over tens, and sheriffs over your tribes. I command your judges at that time, saying, hear disputes between your brothers, judge justly between every man and his fellow, even in cases between people who heap up accusations. You must not favor anyone in judgment. Excuse me. You must not favor anyone in judgment. You must hear a dispute involving a small amount of money just as readily as a dispute involving a large amount. You must not fear any man, for judgment is God's. Bring to me any case that is too difficult for you, and I will hear it. At that time, I commanded you to do all the things you should do in order to differentiate between civil and capital cases. We journeyed from Horeb and traversed that entire great and frightening desert, which you saw toward the mountain of the Amorites, as God, our God, had commanded us, and we came as far as Kadesh Barnea. I said to you, you have arrived at the mountain of the Amorites, which God, our God, is giving us. Behold, God, your God, has set the land before you. Go up and take possession of it, as God, God of your fathers, has spoken to you. You should neither be afraid nor terrified. All of you approached me. You said, let us send men ahead of us so that they will search out the land for us, tell us what language its inhabitants speak, the route by which we will go up, and which cities we should approach. The plan pleased me. I took 12 men from among you, one from every tribe. They turned and ascended the mountain. They came to the valley of Eshcol and spied out the land. They took some of the fruit from the land in their hands and brought it down to us. They told us what language its inhabitants spoke and said, the land that God, our God, is giving us is good. But you were not willing to go up, so you disobeyed God, your God. You slandered God in your tents and said, out of God hatred for us, he took us out of Egypt to deliver us into the hands of the Amorites to annihilate us. And it wasn't just here. There were folks from the elders who were frightened out of their gourd and stirred the people up to where the entire nation, millions of people, weeping because they thought they always over, just like they what he's describing here. But there were people who ginned it up. We'll never make it. We were grasshoppers in our own eyes after seeing these giants that were there. They made us feel small and frightened. What does God say more than anything else in the Tanakh? Be not afraid, do not fear. But they did, and people easily fell for it. And it was for that why they had to stay in the wilderness for another 40 years, so that no generation alive would enter the promised land who had been enslaved, because it's easy to pull, the Israelite out of Egypt. It's really hard to pull the Egypt out of the Israelite. Okay. Simply put. What do you think we were, where do you think we were going? Our brothers have discouraged us, saying, we saw a people greater and taller than we, great and fortified cities suspended in the sky, and the descendants of the giants. That's the, I said to you, do not be broken in spirit and afraid of them. God, your God, goes before you, will fight for you, just as he did for you in Egypt before your very eyes. And in the desert, where you saw how God, your God, was carrying you the way a man carries his son all along the road that you traveled until you came to this place. But regarding this matter, you do not believe God, your God, who goes before you on the journey in a pillar of fire by night and in a pillar of cloud by day, in order to search out a place for you, to make camp and show you which way you should go. God heard the sound of your words and became angry. He swore, saying, none of these men of this evil generation will see the good land that I swore to give your forefathers, except Caleb, son of Yefunah. He will see it, and I'll give the land he trod upon to him and his children, because he was loyal to God. He was one of the guys who's like, no problem, we got this. Let's go. God also became angry with me on account of my response to you, saying to me, you will not go there either. Joshua, son of Nun, who stands before you, will go there in your stead. Strengthen him, for he will cause Israel to inherit it. Your little ones, whom you said would be prey, and your older children, who on that day did not know the difference between good and evil, will go there. I will give it to them, not you, and they will possess it. But as far as you, turn back and journey into the desert towards the Sea of Reeds. Then ye answered to me, saying, we have sinned against God. We will go up and fight in accordance with all that God, our God, has commanded us. And each of you girded his weapons, and you readied yourselves to ascend the mountain, or readied yourself to ascend the mountain. But God said to me, say to them, do not go up, do not fight, for I am not among you. Do not allow yourselves to be struck down before your enemies. So I spoke to you, but you did not listen. You disobeyed God and willfully ascended the mountain. The Amorites who were dwelling on the mountain came out toward you and pursued you just as bees do. They smote you at Mount Seir, as far as Hormah. So you returned and wept before your God, but God refused to heed your voice, nor would he listen to you. You stayed in Kadesh Barnea for a long time, the same amount of time that you dwelt in all your subsequent encampments. The journey through the wilderness is marked by events and teachings, not necessarily by geographical location. I haven't gotten as deep into the names, the journeys, and the why, the order they went through. I've seen other people look at it, and I've taken notes, but not a deep study on that myself. But just know that when you're stopping in all these places, these were represented hurdles that Israel had to overcome. Anybody leaving a message? No. What are we doing in the live chat? Any live chats? No live chats tonight. Everybody's watching Donald Trump. Gee, I wonder why. More excitement around Donald Trump than me. But even Trump gets that there's one God, one Torah. And this is it, folks. This is it. Very generically speaking, as far as biblical prophecy and what's going on right now and what's been written, the Jews were right. I'm not Jewish. Not Jewish. I'm Ben Noach. I'm garish. But the Jews were right all along. Doesn't mean there are not wise men among you. But the Jews were right about the Bible and what it says. So, eat from this tree of life. Humble yourselves, but don't be afraid. You don't have to be fearful to be humble. Okay, are we still sharing? We are still sharing. I got the psychedelic screen going on. Let's read this week's Haftorah before we sign off. Yeshayahu, Isaiah, chapter 1, verse 1. We're going all the way to 27. The link that I put in the description at both Rumble and YouTube have a link. It's to the Parsha, which is broken up into 7 readings, 7 days, and then there's the Haftorah. This is the part of the what's read every year. It's a section of the Bible that's not Torah, so the prophets mainly, that's read that coincides with what you read in the Torah this week. It's pretty amazing. In fact, you could, and it was when Torah was outlawed because it was the Jews' power. The Jews could still teach Torah with sections of what's now the Haftorah. Interesting, huh? The great prophet Isaiah. The vision of Isaiah, the son of Amoz, which he saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah. Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for the Lord has spoken. Children I have raised and exalted, yet they have rebelled against me. An ox knows his owner, and a donkey knows his master's crib. Israel does not know, my people does not consider. Woe to a sinful nation, a people heavy with iniquity, evil-doing seed, corrupt children. They forsook the Lord, they provoked the Holy One of Israel. They drew backwards. Why are you beaten when you still continue to rebel? Every head is afflicted with illness, and every heart with malaise. From the sole of the foot until the head, there is no soundness. Wounds and contusions and lacerated sores they have not sprinkled, neither have they been bandaged, nor was it softened with oil. Your land is desolate, your cities burnt with fire. Your land and your presence, strangers devour it, and it is desolate as that turned over to strangers. And the daughter of Zion shall be left like a hut in a vineyard, like a lodge in a cucumber field, like a besieged city. Had not the Lord of hosts left us a remnant, we would soon be like Sodom. We would resemble Gomorrah. I get that. Not Torah, I'd be a schmuck, a real schmuck. Trust me. I'd be Shlemiel Shlemazel schmuck. That'd be me. Yeah, alliteration a little too far. Hear the word of the Lord, O rulers of Sodom. Give ear to the law of our God, O people of Gomorrah. Of what use are your many sacrifices to me, says the Lord? I'm sated with burnt offerings of rams and the fat of fattened cattle, and the blood of bulls and sheep and he-goats. I do not want. When you come to appear before me, who requested this of you, to trample my courts. You shall no longer bring vain meal offerings. It is smoke of abomination to me. New moons and Sabbaths, calling convocations. I cannot bear iniquity with this assembly. Your new moons and your appointed seasons my soul hates. They are a burden to me. I am weary of bearing them. And when you spread out your hands, I will hide my eyes from you. Even when you pray at length, I do not hear your hands are full of blood. I do not hear your hands are full of blood. Wash, cleanse yourselves. Remove the evil of your deeds from before my eyes. Cease to do evil. Learn to do good. Seek justice. Strengthen the robbed. Perform justice for the orphan. Plead the case of the widow. Come now, let us debate, says the Lord. If your sins prove to be like crimson, they will become white as snow. If they prove to be as red as crimson dye, they shall become as wool. If you be willing to obey, you shall eat the beast of the land. But if you refuse and rebel, you shall be devoured by the sword, for the mouth of the Lord spoke. How has she become a harlot, a faithful city, full of justice, in which righteousness would lodge, but now murders? Your silver has become dross, your wine is diluted with water. Your princes are rebellious and champions of thieves. Everyone loves bribes and runs after your payments. The orphan they do not judge, and the quarrel of the widow does not come to them. Therefore, says the Master of the Lord of hosts, the Mighty One of Israel, Oh, I will console myself from my adversaries, and I will avenge myself of my foes. And I will return my hand upon you and purge away your dross as with lye, and remove all your tin. And I will restore your judges as your first and your counselors as in the beginning. Afterwards you shall be called City of Righteousness, Faithful City. Zion shall be redeemed through justice, and her penitent through righteousness. That's kind of like how it goes. That's pretty much you're looking at Isaiah, and that's how it's going to go for the rest of it. That it's not, everyone thinks they got one up on you, and how cool is this? I can talk about how bad Jews are. Jewish people, they do things. I saw a Jew once, and he was a racist. That kind of thing. It's like, yeah, God's been telling them where they screwed up a lot. A lot. If you read the Jewish texts, you're not going to get, they're the chosen ones. Well, why not me? You're not going to get a whole lot of love letters. You get some, yeah. And you'll get a dressing down like you get here. That's one heck of a dress down that Isaiah was giving them. And then he says, but I'll return my hand upon you and purge away your dross as with lye and remove all your tin. This is when they've redeemed, and they were going to be redeemed, and through them, we, the Lord, the basically the Lord's creation, the world is redeemed. How's that? So it's a good thing. If the Jews were right, what's that mean? It's time to get right with your God. That's what it means. It's time to make good with your Creator. That's what it means. It's time to make good with your fellow man. You'll be able to look in the mirror again. Promise. But on that note, which is a great note, Torah is a great note. They're all great notes. I'm out of here, and I thank you so much. And I'm going to go over and now watch Donald Trump and see what he had to say while I was busy talking Torah. Buymeacoffee.com/The Idol Smasher, The Orphans of Avraham at Facebook, at The Idol Smasher. I'm James. Thank you so much. I'm James. Thank you so much. Eyewitness weather here from the 102.1 helicopter. I'm kidding. We never did that. That was just on WKRP, I promise. But thank you for tuning in. We'll get to this. I didn't talk about Massie's anti-Semitic little thing. Thomas Massie's a Jew-hating slob. When his wife died, he became a real schmuck. Real Jew-hating schmuck. That's too bad. Maybe he'll wake up. I don't care. People of Kentucky fired him. Shabbat shalom, y'all. Be well.